Thank you.
I'm so excited that you agreed to do this. You have absolutely no idea.
Well, I'm happy to join in.
Yes. Um, because as you know, I've been like your biggest fan since I don't even know when, since I joined Twitter
Oh,
and
wow.
probably before that.
I don't know how you would have known me before Twitter, though.
Because you pop up in like the newspaper every once in a
Oh,
while. Yeah. So
oh,
it's
there you are.
there we go. I know. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I haven't done Zoom before, or not for a very long time. Um, so yes, so I've been following you for a very long time. Um, and I'm very happy that you agreed to do this.
Well, thank you.
Yes. And of course, I was going through your blog and I was reading all the things that you had suggested reading. And um, I go down these rabbit holes.
Uh-huh.
So you suggest something for me to read, and then I then have to look up all the things that are in it. But anyways, if you would like to, you can introduce yourself if you want. And your cats, because we've all seen
Well,
them on Twitter.
I'm Marlene Koenig, and I'm a royal historian. And this is my younger baby. This is Fleur Victoria, also known as Flurry, and Furry Flurry. She's just a year. She's just over a year old. She was advertised at 4. They lied about her age. I was only looking for a 4 to 8 year old. Well, that didn't work out, did it, Flurball? You were meant to be with your bro. Ouch. Okay, you want to leave? Okay, bye.
Like,
Harper might wander in too, so who knows?
yeah, I have to keep my door closed. Otherwise, they'll all three be in here and knocking things over. So, yes, you have been studying royalty, and it's not just the British royalty, it's like everywhere in Europe, right?
Absolutely. It's British and European, past and present. And it all goes back to when I first started reading books as a teenager about Queen Victoria and her descendants. And Elizabeth Longford's book had this huge family tree. And to make a long story short, I would go to the library and read about these other people. And I started making lists, not knowing there were genealogies. And then when I finally was able to get a hold of some of these, reference books, I would notice there were discrepancies. And then I would start looking in newspapers, and then I would write letters. So, and be able to say, oh, no, I was born on this day, not that day, things like that. So, and building up, contacts and things. So.
Right, because you've met some fascinating people. Weren't you at like a state dinner with the King of Romania?
I was invited. I've known the Romanian royal family for many years, again, due to my work with Queen Victoria's descendants, because he's a double descendant. I was invited in 2011 for his 90th birthday. I'd also been invited to he and Queen Anne's 50th anniversary, but I couldn't go. And then in January of 2020, I was in Bucharest. It was for the 30th anniversary of Her Majesty Margarita's first visit to the country after communism, after communism fell. And then, of course, in October, I was there for where I received the Medal of Loyalty to the Romanian crown, which was kind of cool and very unexpected.
Yes, I saw that. That's
So
amazing.
that was pretty cool. And it was a pretty big, it's like we're still in a pandemic, and here I am, flying, via London to Bucharest, and then Bucharest, Munich to London with a 6-hour layover, and then coming home. So yeah. Yeah. I know every inch, every nook and cranny of Terminal 5 in Heathrow. Every store, everything. The past 6 hours.
Oh, I can only imagine because you've been to London or to the UK how many times?
50. But
That's right.
terminals do not count. Layovers do not count. So even if it's 6 hours. So
Right. Well, I tell you what,
and they wouldn't have let me in anyway because of the COVID restrictions. You would have had to quarantine and all that stuff, so you wouldn't have been able to like do a quick trip into London on the Heathrow Express. So I was really stuck, but it was okay. It was fine.
Right. Well, if the Romanian royal family wanted to give me an award, I can assure you, COVID or no COVID, I would be there.
Yeah, it actually wasn't. The traveling wasn't, totally masked all the way over. I discovered I can sleep in a mask on an airplane. And I wore, I stayed, there were precautions I had to actually, it was so funny because, the Europeans have their vaccination card in their phone. They have it, and we don't have that. And neither was some Canadians staying too, and they were in the same position we do. And then so I had to take out my little card, that you get from the CDC, and the Canadians don't even have that. They didn't have I don't know what she had to do. Because she was there, she was going to have some surgery because it was cheaper in Romania. And so the first morning he says, can you have your, and I'm like, how about my CDC card, and I had to show my CDC card also because, when I went to Bran, Bran Castle, I had to show my CDC card as well. Everybody else whooping out their phones. I'm like, CDC card. And you don't laminate it either. So, because you can't, because you add another vaccine. So that was kind of like, took it back in again. But no, Romania is lovely. I highly recommend. It's inexpensive to travel. In the end, I had to make my own hotel, the last 2 times there was an official hotel, but I made my, and I certainly couldn't afford to stay in the hotel that they put us up in, in the previous January. So I did a Hilton Garden Inn in the old town, and it wasn't expensive at all. And then I actually was able to get the lower price because the price went down. So I called Hilton and they redid it, the booking and everything. So when I checked in, because I had to book a car to pick me up, and I went to say, do I pay you? And he said, no, it's all taken care with the hood. He says, I think it's on your bill or whatever. And it turns out, before I arrived, Her Majesty's office called and they picked up the bill, and they moved me to another room. Yeah, I had this big room and everything in there. I'd be like, ooh, I was not expecting that. So, and it wasn't even that expensive. It wasn't going to be. I think it was something like $70 a night or something with breakfast. So it wasn't that bad. Right. And it was right in Lipscani, which is the old town. And it was so having been to Bucharest twice before, so I was familiar with the area and, stuff I wanted to see again and stuff. The only thing I really wanted to do was to go to, the side trip was to go to Bran. I even had to bring the CDC card when we came at the palace, because the palace itself, the main palace, is a museum now.
Oh, okay.
But the royal family can use what was once the state dining room and the throne room. And when I was there in January of 2020, they opened up, and we went, because we had the last dinner it was a buffet after the concert, the final night. Right. And they opened up the throne room. And I can tell you, I'll tell you my Harry and Meghan story right after this about okay.
Okay.
So they we went upstairs and they didn't have a real throne. They had not. Well, apparently, and I want to do a blog post, but I've got so many other things I have to do, that I have to
Yes.
check off that I have to do. But apparently they found Michael's throne in some place in Romania, and they were able to buy it and bring it back. And so it's now in the throne. So I actually saw the throne. That was King
Oh,
Michael. So that was kind of cool. So
yes.
I need to find out more about that, but I've got other things I have to do right first. I don't want to
I was following you so closely through the Platinum Jubilee because I mean, seriously, you were just having the best adventure.
Oh, I had a blast. I had a blast. It was so nice to be back. I normally don't go for 2 weeks. I usually go for like 7 days, 6 days. But I had a great Airbnb that only cost me 15 nights, $1,400.
Oh, wow.
In a great, run by, a couple, and in their home, and it was right on the wetlands, and it was just wonderful. It was just absolutely, and visited friends, and got up early a couple of mornings, way too early, for the trooping and for the church service. And it was, and the weather was gorgeous. The weather was fantastic. Very little rain. And
Right.
I had great adventures, and I'm like, okay, I'm want to go here today, and
Right.
got some good pictures, and and then of course my paparazzi moment. So
Yes. So tell everyone about your paparazzi
my
moment.
paparazzi moment. Okay, so I I take pictures of royalty. I did stuff, and and wetlands and all sorts of fun stuff. But here it was the Saturday. It was the day of the morning of the concert. And I was meeting for brunch a reporter who has interviewed me a couple of times. She was going to take me out. She was coming down from Scotland. She was going to take me out for brunch, and we was in Kensington. We ate this place called Fiona's, and then we walked back and sat by the palace, and we chatted because she was doing an interview. And then we walked through the garden. We looked to see the Diana statue. Not impressed.
Yeah.
And then we walked up, and she was and I really didn't have anything planned because a friend was staying at the Victory Club in London, which is for military families and stuff, and that includes NATO, and it includes Americans, and they get a discount for a room and stuff like that. And there's a restaurant and things. So she decided to take me for my birthday there, and I was hoping she would come with me to the concert, but she's older than I am, so she wanted to watch it on TV, and that was fine. But earlier in the day, Michaela and I were walking down. We walked down Kensington Palace Green, which is that private road with some embassies. There's the Romanian embassy. There's the Norwegian embassy. You're not supposed to take pictures, but there was a plaque to King Haakon. And then there's and then it's a private street. And then when you get to the top, there's the police, and on the right is the Russian embassy. And I turned to the cops. I said, "Would you do anything if I just did this to them?" And they go, "I don't see anything." So and then we walked on what's the street? I can't think of the name of the street. Whatever the street that's on. So Kensington Palace Road. This kills me. It'll come to me eventually. And so we're walking down, and I hear a helicopter, and it's going toward KP. Well, I just turn around, and I said, "See you, Michaela." I turned around, and it ran as fast as a 68-year-old could run. Well, 67 and 3/4 at that point. And then run. And when you go down by the Kensington Palace, you're going toward the palace. On the right is this open area. It's lower, and that's where the helicopter pad is. And there are people there with phones and everything, and they had just gotten out, and I had my 400 lens, and and there's Louis coming and jumping into Mom's arms, which is the money shot. And I'm like, I can't believe I did. So then when, they left and stuff, and I walking back down again, and I go and sit, and I get a piece of Victoria sponge and something cold to drink, and just sit there, and I look at the back of my camera, and I said, oh my God. So I took a picture of it with my phone and tweeted it. Well, I mean, the internet blew up, and he's like, oh, do you have more and all this stuff? And I'm going, well, yeah, I do, but it's in my camera, and I'm not going back to my hotel until late tonight, blah, blah, blah. And then I get a message from a reporter at the Daily Express. Have you sold them? And I'm going, no. I said, I got a lot. So when I got back that night, I, sent her 6 of them, and they bought 6 of them.
Oh, good.
Paid me £200. That's my paparazzi awesome moment. It is, yeah. But I had to literally. She asked me, "Did you do this legally?" I said, "Yeah, I'm standing on the other side of the wall with all the other people. We're just walking down the Kensington Palace. Yeah, it's open area.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, I remember seeing those pictures pop up and your name underneath it, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, me."
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I'm, my paparazzi moment. So, yeah. So I'm actually seriously rather chuffed. You always want that. It's, it was in a once in a lifetime thing. The things, it was something that's happening to you that once in a lifetime. And that was my once in a lifetime thing. So,
yeah. Cool. Yes, it was very cool. I mean, like I said, I watched everything that you did because you posted on Twitter, and it's always a joke between my son and I because he made me go to the Hobbit movies. And the very first Hobbit movie, the Hobbit runs out and he's like, "Oh, yay, we're going on an adventure." And at the end of the Hobbit movies, it's like the worst adventure ever. I don't know if you've ever seen the movies. I'm not that kind of a person.
It's not. I'm not a fan of the books. So
no, me either. But he had got me. He wanted to go to the movies, and so I was going with him. And I was like, "This adventure sucks." I told him, and then I'm watching yours. I was like, "Oh my God, you're going on the best adventure ever! I want to go on your adventure next time."
I mean, it was, and also doing garter ceremony and Duke's Lane and all that fun stuff and seeing friends, and it was yes. Just nice. I missed it desperately. And it was good. I mean, I'm glad I did the plane to Asheville, last summer, get that over with, flying, plane in COVID, and then the trip to Romania. So once I got the Romanian trip over, I was fine.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I had the whole row to myself, so I didn't took the mask off and stuff going over and things, because it wasn't crowded.
Well, I had that small interaction with Prince Philip, which is
what was this interaction?
Well, he passed by me and he was like, "Why are you sitting in the corner?" Because he did come to.
I didn't think Philip went to the evening reception.
He did, just for a little while.
Because the Queen didn't go, I don't think.
She did as well, just for a little while. So I broke royal news right here. I shouldn't be saying this. I'll get in trouble.
Well, but then maybe I think that's right, that they did come and then they left.
Yes, just for a little while. And true to being, Prince Philip, he hones in on the one person that's, the kind of like the most uncomfortable person in the room, and not trying to make me feel uncomfortable or anything.
No.
It's like, what are you doing here all by yourself? And I'm like, I don't know anyone. And he's like, well, you should be out there dancing with everyone. And I'm like, I don't know anybody. He goes, well, you're not going to know anyone if you don't get your ass on the dance floor. And I'm like, And then he just walked off. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty true. And I think they also forget that, Kate and William were really popular when they got married too.
Mhm.
And then they went on their tour of Canada and the US, and they had, they did have some protesters.
Yeah, and the other thing, of course, is that there was also, and I even wrote about, that, when are they going to step up? And then
right. Yeah.
hindsight being 2020, it may have been the right thing after all, because William is not the heir to the throne. Charles is. We're in this situation where we actually have 4 generations, and we haven't had that, since the 1890s. And I think what they have is done is probably the right thing to do. And, ease her in, because she's extremely successful. She is eased into her, she is much more comfortable in her role than she was, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Oh, yes, definitely. Her and the way she's been able to, they've raised the children.
Mhm.
And, I mean, it's yet to be seen if that's going to translate into a successful monarch. Hopefully, there will be a King George.
Oh, there will be. I'm not,
I'm
it costs too much to get rid of the monarchy.
I'm kind of thinking so too,
Flurry says, the queen.
but of course.
My mommy says I'm a little princess. You lied about your age.
Well, then she really is a princess.
She is a
Because
princess.
all princesses lie about their age.
So, but I mean,
Well, then I was trying to bring a professional women's soccer team to Colorado. And apparently they don't want one here. So that's been pretty difficult too. So because I'm one of those people too, that I'm just like, I'm just doing a million different things all at one time. And so I can somewhat see Megan's frustration with, if I was being held back all the time, because Gordon sees my frustration all the time. But
I think there's, I think William was right. It wasn't an attack on Megan. It was the advice of being like, you need to spend more time, because he gave, Edward and Sophie lived together for what, 7 or 8 years.
right.
William and Catherine lived together,
Yes.
they learned from the mistakes of Diana and Sarah. And, and it was just been more time, rather than, going over to Canada for a few nights for cuddle and some dinner and stuff, and then flying. I just don't think that was way to build a relationship. So
Yes. No, I definitely agree when it comes to that. But I love, all royalty and the gossip that comes out, and prefer the truth as far as the gossip goes. And seeing the new things. So I love seeing that Harry's back in Mozambique, or went
yeah,
to Mozambique.
it's a nice little surprise. And and he's probably very happy. But what would be much more interesting, because I mean, the problem is, the British press can complain all they want, like what they're doing, but yet they're going to write about them. And,
Right.
it's sort of like, it's a two-edged sword, because, people click on them, and click on those articles. And of course, the Daily Express made money, every time someone clicked my pictures.
Right.
Said they had quite a lot of hits. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm happy with my 200 pounds in a byline. So, or for, I got $500 when the Daily Mail plagiarized me. So,
I did not know that happened.
but that said, I mean, there's going to be such press attention on their visits. And I think what happened to the, the deranged, I mean, not the deranged posting all these nasty comments under well child is just uncalled for. Just stay in your own playpens, people.
Yes, yes. I'm like, you can separate the two. I mean, Well Child is a good organization.
And then pointing like, why is she? I said, she's not the patron of it. Harry is the patron. I thought he lost all his patronages. He lost all of his official things. This is one of his private patronages. Just like Meghan kept SmartWorks and Mayhew, but she and Mayhew, they decided not to renew. I'm presuming because she couldn't devote much time to it. No other reason at all, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly. And it's always, there's the few that are just trying to hit out one way or the other. It doesn't matter.
Just let them do their thing. Okay. They're doing things for themselves. Yes, they're raising money for charity and thing. But that's the life they want to live. Just let them do it. They come to England, take the pictures, write who, what, where, how, and why about it, and that's it. But that's not going to happen.
No, it really isn't.
I mean, I joked to Richard Palmer. I said, I can see the headlines now. Will Meghan bring a housewarming gift to Kate? Or will William invite Harry and Meghan open for barbecue at Adelaide Cottage?
Yeah, exactly.
He says, give it time.
Yeah, exactly. Because nothing's going to transpire. Let's just go with nothing until it happens.
Let Harry and William do it on their own, in their own time.
Right.
And, I mean, they're not going to be there that long anyway. They're going to go up to Balmoral. This when the Queen's going to be either at Windsor in London because of the new Prime Minister. And just, she probably won't have time for them.
Right. Exactly. So just my feeling is until it's reported on, I'm not going to worry about it.
That's like, I get, refused, like, what do you, I said, I don't do speculation. I mean, I had this with a Twitter account called Duchess of Philly, and she uses hello gorgeous, whatever. And she asked a question, and I chimed in because, she and I followed each other about Meghan's title if she runs for office. And my point is, the Constitution is very specific. It says the US government cannot give a title. Elected officials or cabinet, of the federal cannot accept titles, which is why the Queen doesn't give honorary peerages, honorary knighthoods until after they leave office.
Right.
And he points out, he says, I'm not that good with constitutional law, but there's the Titles Nobility Amendment, which says you lose your citizenship if you have a title. That never passed. It's not in the Constitution. At that point, it needed 2 states. Now it would need 26 states. It's not there. So I immediately go back to, to Royal Musing, and I respond. I said, Prince Albert states this is not true. It doesn't exist. And the reason why it was done was for Betsy Patterson, who was going to marry Jerome Bonaparte. And the fear is that their child could be born in the US and be eventually end up as, emperor of France or whatever. And that never happened. So it never made it. So stop citing something that is not in the Constitution. So of course I get frustrated because it goes in one ear out the other. But what if she, as I said, there are Americans who are peers. The present Earl of Warncliffe lives in Maine. The title is now in the US. That's how it ended up here. I said, Lord Fairfax of Cameron, a Scottish lordship. A number of Americans. In fact, he ran for office in, like the 1860s in California, and things. He never used his title. And then it was his nephew decided to go to England and stayed and went to Parliament, and he was recognized. I mean, then they never had a problem. They always knew who the Lord was. because no one ever hit it. They just didn't use it in the US. That's
Right.
who Fairfax County is named for, all sorts of things. Um, Friends of George Washington, Sally Fairfax,
Right.
so the title is back. And Lord Fairfax has comes good relationship and comes every, for big events, comes to Fairfax County and things. So,
Right.
which is kind of cool. But that said, I said, we don't know. She's not running.
Right.
Why do you need to know something that isn't happening?
Right.
Why don't you wait until, but what if first of all, it's not her title. She would probably not use her title. She would
Right.
probably just use, Megan Sussex. So we don't know,
Right.
And I said, and then I point out all these other things to her. And then she called me a bully. I said, well, if a bully has knowledge, if a bully means that I'm providing information, then okay.
Right.
And we just unfollowed each other. But I mean, it was really, really stupid. I mean, it's like, why? We don't know because it hasn't happened.
Right. Right. Exactly. And it does. It gets so frustrating.
There's no guarantee. Has she talked about it? Has she said she's going to run for office? We don't know that. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think she'd make it past the first gate, because I don't think she doesn't have that sort of power.
Yeah.
Her power, what she does and they do is largely limited. It's not massive. It's, again, not a criticism. It's reality. So I don't think, unless she wants to run for school board or something, just start. But
yeah. Right. I don't think she has a constitution to be able to run or actually be in office. To me,
you can do good things without being in office,
Oh, yes, definitely. And that's probably, I don't know, I think if they just recenter, kind of like they're doing now, like, Harry just shows up in Mozambique and starts doing what, he's always
but
done.
The question is, where is the money coming from?
Yes. Yes.
Because when people say, oh, they got blank million from Netflix, most of that money doesn't go to them. That's money that goes to produce and hire. They only get a percentage of that.
Yes.
People don't realize that. And where's Spotify?
Yeah.
Although there's now reports that there was some issues and that it'll be in the fall, that it got postponed because of Roe versus Wade or something like that. I don't know. I don't have Spotify, so I don't know.
I've given up trying to wait for whatever they're going to do, because I don't know that they're ever going to do anything. And they
are doing things. I mean, they are doing things. I mean,
yes. But they're big projects that they keep talking about.
And we don't know a lot of the little things. All of a sudden, we hear about little things like, oh, she did, donuts were delivered to, the Moms Against Guns issue type of thing.
Right.
And the point was only that I said, let me tell you, that's what charities like. If they're doing phone banks and stuff, and you're doing a massive thing, people delivering food is appreciated.
Right.
Right. So, it's not, just donut. That's just, it's the gesture.
Right.
They were probably not the only people doing that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I think it's going to taper off the longer they're in the States. Because it seems to be slowing down a little bit. Either that or people have started blocking me more. Because
hey, people call me a sugar, and people call me, which means, and people think I hate Kate and think I hate Megan. So it's a no-win situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm blocked. I mean, Scooby Doo has blocked me.
Oh, he blocked me a long time ago.
Well, the reason why he blocked me was there was the bit about People Magazine and the letter, when it said that she knew that the that they were talking to People magazine. And before that, he had done a GMA piece where he said, no, Megan was unaware of this, blah, blah, blah. And, when he did that, I said, well, here's what you said on GMA.
Right.
And he blocked me.
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't like the truth. I shouldn't say he doesn't like the truth. He doesn't like facts.
So, I mean,
yeah.
And
I mean, the thing about him is that it'll eventually come back around. So it doesn't matter if you're blocked, you'll eventually find out exactly what it is that he said.
Well, he once contacted because people would tell him what I was saying about him. So, he sent me a DM or something and said something to the effect, you're a professional, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm sorry, I just like telling the truth.
You should try it sometime.
Anybody who makes up a fake Ralph Waldo Emerson quote for the opening of your book loses me.
Yeah. See, I couldn't even order the book or read it. That I couldn't do. I did read Revenge.
I have Revenge. It's actually right now one of the books holding up the iPad. I just got I'm gonna talk to a few people who have been really combing it and getting all the mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, he pointed the thing about Oprah was said years before even she met Megan. There's lots of little things in there. I think the book is he failed abysmally.
Yeah,
but the crazies are eating it up as gospel, and it's very sad.
The only thing that I took away from it were things that happened before she met Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those things you could put together. And they were just kind of missing pieces. Like you don't hear from anyone she knew in college, which I found.
The two women who sat with her.
Yes, there's two.
They're good friends. They're still good friends. I think at least one of them is a godparent of Archie. I don't think Lilibet's been baptized, and I don't think she ever will be. I doubt it, unless they did it, at a privately, in the U.S.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that she hasn't. I mean, that there aren't like pictures from her sorority days that have come out, because usually that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. They always have parties like that.
No, but I mean,
no, it's. I mean, there's
this has been fun.
It has been. It has been. I'm so happy that you agreed to come on here.
Well, we shall chat soon on Twitter, darling.
Yes, definitely. And I look forward to it. Out. Yes. I look forward to it. And you have a wonderful evening.
You have a wonderful night too. It was lovely. It was lovely chatting with you.
You too. All right.
Should just do this for no reason at all.
I know. We should. Anytime you want to. Just hit me up.
Okay.
I'm just sitting around.
Okay. Have a nice night. All right.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.